Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing my 2019 AFL Week 1 of Finals tips and predictions. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So I am so excited to do this. As most of you guys know, this has been, a really awesome all around all year that I've been able to do these tips and predictions for you guys, averaging like 300 views every single one I do. It's absolutely awesome, and yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for all of this. But yeah, we got finals and it's still first week, and I know a lot of people have all their different opinions on who's going to win these games, and yeah, it's going to come up to, a couple of really close ones I have a feeling about. But yeah, we're going to be starting off with the Thursday night game, which is West Coast versus Essendon at Optus Stadium, and I think this is probably the easiest one to judge. I mean, quite a few people have a pretty good idea of who they think is going to win this game, and so do I. I would think that West Coast should get the win, so I will be tipping West Coast, but the fact that they lost to Hawthorn the week before is extremely weird. I really don't know why they lost to them. There was some people actually saying they deliberately lost it so they wouldn't have to go versus Brisbane at Brisbane, and they could, play week 1 of finals at their home game. I doubt that, and I don't think that really makes the most sense, because if they verse Brisbane I think, versing Brisbane week 1 of finals would have been probably a better scenario anyway, as West Coast are most likely going to have to verse a team, somewhere away from their home ground eventually. So, yeah, it's kind of really interesting. I doubt they, deliberately lost the game, and I don't really think, but I guess it could be an option, and some people still do believe it, and yeah, I don't really know, but it's still going to be really interesting to see. I did not expect them to finish 5th at all, and yeah, they will be taking on the Essendon Football Club, who have been pretty inconsistent all year, with some people saying they don't deserve to make the 8. Look, I don't really know. There's a couple ones that they've had, a couple tough losses, but then there's been those games where they've definitely deserved to lose and just haven't showed up on the night. Like round 21, they lost by 104 points to the Western Bulldogs. That is absolutely insane, and yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see how Essendon actually play. Last time they played against West Coast at Optus Stadium, I believe it was actually closer than I thought it was. I can't remember what the scores were. Actually, who really knows? But I'm pretty sure there was a solid reason why Essendon lost, and I'm pretty sure West Coast just played their game plan to perfection, and just Essendon couldn't do anything about it. So I'm expecting there might be a couple changes up with that, but yeah, I still do believe that West Coast should get the win and shouldn't really struggle. But who knows, if Essendon can bring their best game, they could be in for a chance. But yeah, I will be tipping West Coast to beat Essendon at Optus Stadium. Anyway, the next one we have is GWS versus Western Bulldogs. Another really interesting game as well. These are all interesting games because no one really knows what's going to happen, especially with this one, because last time Western Bulldogs versus GWS at their home ground, they smacked them. Like, Western Bulldogs absolutely smacked GWS at their home ground, and a lot of people theorizing that that could be the same scenario again. Look, I don't think it's going to be that easy with the last time Western Bulldogs versed them. As I said, it was at GWS's home ground. GWS didn't have Jeremy McGovern and a couple other players here and there as well, which it looks like they will have. Also, Jeremy Finlayson did not play, so their best two key forwards did not play, which a lot of people, say is the main reason they could have gotten smacked around the ground and all of this stuff. But then I think there was a couple of other players that had some injuries as well. So it's not 100% complete obvious case of who is going to win this one. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than the last game, which was actually round 22, where GWS lost and scored 65 points, while Western Bulldogs won and scored 126. So I do believe it should be a lot closer, and I actually have heard people tip GWS in. But for this game, I think I will be tipping Western Bulldogs, and I actually think if everything goes their way, they could be a contender this year, but who really knows? It's going to be so tight with so many different teams contending this year. No one really knows what's going to happen, but I do think Western Bulldogs can be a pretty decent team and could do really well if they were able to beat GWS. But yeah, who really knows what's going to happen? But yeah, I will be tipping Western Bulldogs to beat GWS at Giant Stadium. Alright, and then the next one we have is Geelong versus Collingwood. Now this game, these are probably... this game, and I'd say the Brisbane versus Richmond one, are the two hardest ones to judge. Collingwood and Geelong are obviously really good teams, as we all know. But what's pretty interesting that a lot of people have pointed out is that every time Geelong plays Collingwood, especially I think it's the last 3 times, Collingwood have actually have scored under 70 points, I think, in those 3 games. So, yeah, that's really interesting, and I think that Collingwood, it looks like they definitely do struggle to score against the Geelong Football Club. So if Geelong can do that again in the final, which, who really knows, Geelong aren't exactly the best team at playing in finals. I believe they have a 3-12 record, and that's 12 losses to their name with Chris Scott, I think. So that is extremely bad, I think, and something they definitely need to fix. And if they were to beat Collingwood at the MCG, who knows, that could be a statement, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, and I think it definitely could. I'd actually say that, from looking at things, I wouldn't say that either team are the favourite here, and I think both people have an equal thinking of who's going to win this game, and no one really knows. But if Collingwood if Collingwood fail to score, which is what they did last time that they played this team, I believe, then I can't see them winning this, and I think that Geelong should win. So yeah, I will be tipping Geelong over Collingwood, but yeah, I will be tipping Geelong over Collingwood at the MCG. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next one. We have Brisbane versus Richmond, and wow, this is also really interesting. This one's at the Gabba, and Richmond just came off playing Brisbane, as most of you guys know, and Richmond ended up winning, but it was at the MCG, but Richmond ended up winning 82-55, keeping Brisbane to only 55 points. Now, I think that's going to be a lot harder to do at the Gabba, and I think most people will agree with me on that. I think their stoppage game plan gets a lot better when they play at the Gabba, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who can win this one, especially considering they just played each other. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, as again, similar to the Geelong versus Collingwood one, no one really knows who's going to win this one. It's an equal shared tipping, I would say. Like, it's pretty close. And yeah, Richmond will get maybe a couple inclusions in. No one really knows if there's still a couple of players that could come in, like Toby Nankervis, and whether or not Richmond want to take Ivan Solder out, or maybe there could be a chance where they play both ruckmen at the same time. Or maybe Richmond just go in with the same team. And there was a couple of rumours even that Marlon Pickett would make his debut against Brisbane. And that is also a really big chance that could possibly happen. But I believe that Richmond will go with an unchanged list. And yeah, it looked like, I think it was going, as I said, it's going to be super interesting to see who's going to win this one. But I do think that Richmond should get the win. So yeah, I will be tipping Richmond to beat Brisbane at the Gabba. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest AFL content. Don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your tips and predictions for the first week of finals? I definitely would really like to know your thoughts and opinions. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. Link in the description down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.